Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. We have the late time driving music for a 2:30 p.m. finish because East Coast games are amazing. This is the Missing Lynx Podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Dukowitz from ZoneCoverage. I cover the Lynx and the Wolves, and I guess now I should probably start saying Gophers women basketball as well. But today I'm joined by a good friend, the Crunch Wears No Pants Alpha Analytic. What's your title with Crunch Wears No Pants?
I just say that I'm 1/3 of Crunch Wears No Pants.
1/3 of Crunch Wears No Pants, Brandon Beck. I can say that was watching an Oklahoma City Thunder Summer League game. That was one of the highlights of Vegas for me. So always good to talk to you, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk some Lynx because like we were just saying before we hit record, they're really good.
Yeah. Well, and before we get into it, I'll run a quick ad here as people jump into the live stream. When we come back, we'll talk about the game. We'll mention some of the post-game press conference stuff because Cheryl had a couple good quotes. And then we'll answer some fan questions and preview the next two games, which are also against New York. Well, hello. Thank you, live stream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Lynx podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. So, Brandon, I don't know about you, but to me, the story of the game was Liberty went up 54-50 after a Natasha Cloud 3, and it kind of just seemed like, oh man, this is just going to come down to the wire. Then the Lynx proceeded to only allow 3 points in 4 minutes. They outscored them 16-3. They never looked back, and the game was just kind of over after that. But I mean, Brandon, what was your kind of moment in this game where you maybe had that thought of like, oh, this team's like really good?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I watching the game for the first like 2.5 quarters of it, it kind of had the vibe of like, oh man, like we don't have Fee, so this one is going to be a tough one, you know. And then it kept feeling like the Liberty would like get out to like a 7-8 point lead, and you're like, oh no, here it comes. And then they just kind of like kept like chipping away and sticking around, but they could never really get over the hump. And then like midway through the second quarter, like you said, there was just kind of like that avalanche. I think it was like a 14-0 run or something like that. And really
16-3 overall.
Yeah. And really sparked like for me, the story of this game is the bench. And particularly like the third game, the 3 of 3, like awesome game so far in the DiJonai Carrington experience. She has been fantastic. She got a couple like big offensive rebounds that resulted in some threes during that 14-0 run. I mean, the defense is as good as advertised, not just on ball, but off ball. Like she's just like a really smart, heady defender. Like she's in passing lanes all the time is like, I've been really impressed with that. And then, yeah, the offense, like when that trade was made, the doubters of it were doubters of it because like you could look at her numbers with Dallas and the offensive efficiency stuff was horrible. But I think the theory that I'm assuming that the Lynx had and the theory that I had and a lot of people had was that she was just kind of miscast as a primary creator with the wings. And now that she's been able to just fit into the infrastructure of the Lynx and play a lot more off ball, do a lot more cutting, a lot more passing, she's not as heavily relied on offense. The offense has been awesome too. And if she is a contributing offensive player to this level, then like the defense is bankable and the offense is just like found money.
Well, and what's crazy with this like that trade is the Lynx have the number one defense by 2 points. Their defensive rating is 2 points better than the next team, which like might not seem like a lot, but like 2 points is probably like typically that's the difference between like the fourth best defense and the eighth best defense. Like they are considerably better as the best defense. And they add the starting all first team defensive guard as their sixth player.
Yeah.
And it's like that alone is a lot. But then it's you know, DiJonai has never said it, but there's just kind of like reading in between the tea leaves of her saying like, you know, this is the first time I've had fun playing basketball this year. You know, I'm where I belong. She says a couple times she's happy to be here. Cheryl said in one of the practice scrums of, you know, we wanted to get DiJonai this last offseason. They did all of their scouting on her. They checked in with Court, T, Lan, all the players. It sounded like they really wanted to add her. And I just kind of wonder if that's part of it is like DiJonai got shipped to Dallas because they were the highest bidder for a sign and trade. And then she's just kind of toiling away there, waiting until the Lynx go and get her. Because, I mean, she has been seamless fitting in. I don't know what you think about it, but like defensively, it seems like she's been playing with them for 2 years.
Yeah. And like you said, she's joining an already like leaps and bounds better than everyone else defense, like 2 points by defensive rating better than the second best defense. And so like, obviously there is just kind of a cap on the impact that a player who's primarily defense, like theoretically is going to have there. Like the defense is already really good. How much better can it get? But I think McBride said it in her like post-game, like walk-off interview. That was a really good point that I hadn't really considered is her impact also has like cascading effects on the offense where it's like Kayla McBride is like, oh, wow, I see DiJonai Carrington check in and she's going to guard Sabrina Ionescu. And so I don't have to worry about that. And now I can like go get my shots off and like focus way more on that end of the court because it's taking so much pressure off of other folks on the defensive side. They're not having to expend as much energy. So like you said, I just think that the fit has been seamless. And I mean, realistically, she's got like a 70% true shooting percentage through 3 games. Like that is going to come down. Like if DiJonai Carrington continues to be 70% true shooting for the rest of the season, like plan the parade because they're not going to lose any games. But yeah, I mean, she's just been fantastic.
And 3-0 without Fee, which I think, you know, the first one against Seattle, we saw a lot of Jessica Shepard. You know, the last game against the Mystics, we saw Alana Smith just pop off. Tonight, it's Masha. I mean, it's funny because like the team talks so highly of her that she's like diving for loose balls in practice, that she's super intense, like diligent, but like she just can't play. So you know, when there was should the Lynx go get a guard or should they get a post at the trade deadline? Like what should they value more? My kind of pushback on that had always been like, who are they going to get that's even going to get minutes? Like between Shepard, Lan, and Fee, there's nothing to go around. And then you see Masha tonight, who is that size. And I mean, she kind of just solved all of their problems with Jones today.
Yeah. And I talk about this a lot when we talk about like Timberwolves stuff on our podcast, when we're talking about like buyout market, trade deadline stuff. I think the thing about her is that like, I don't think they want her to be a foundational piece of the rotation this season going into the playoffs. But what is helpful on those like back half of the roster, like those people who, when you're fully healthy, are not in the rotation, it's helpful to have like a diversity of skill sets, to have like different tools in Coach Reeves' tool belt. So when a series calls for someone with a lot of size, that can be a card she can play. Like, it's nice to have someone who can like shoot it a little bit. It's nice to have someone who can go in there and like mix it up and guard and bring energy. Like, and so that is like, I think we've seen her kind of thrive, like particularly today. I think she had 4 steals in this game, 2 blocks. She had that really nice kind of like 6 foot little like baby hook thing. Like she's got some skill and she can shoot
She
it a
also
little bit
shoots threes
if you leave her open. And yeah, and she is like, if there is a hole to poke in the Minnesota Lynx, and like they have a 6.5 game lead on the second best team in the WNBA with 12 games to go, like you are really, really grasping to try to poke holes in this, but like champagne problems, right? It is the size. It is that like Alana Smith, is fantastic as she is, a little bit undersized. Like she makes up for it in just like her natural defensive instincts and the fact that she can stretch the floor a little bit. And like Jess Shepard plays really big, but she isn't like massive. Like she doesn't physically match up with like the Jonquel Joneses of the world. And so, yeah, like having someone that big who is that skilled, who, like I said, I don't think that they have visions of her getting 10 minutes or 15 minutes a night in the playoffs. But if Alana Smith has like back issues again in the playoffs, or if, like I said, if a series just calls for a little bit more size, to be able to have that card to play in the later games, like just to fill some minutes, I think is going to be huge.
I just want to back up real quick because the net ratings and advanced ratings have updated from today's game. The Lynx now have a 3.3 lead for the best defensive rating. That is the exact difference between the second and the 8th best team in the league. So their level of defense better than the second best team is the difference between the Mercury and the Fever, which is wild. Then you go to the offensive side. They have a 2.7 net offensive rating, like gap between the 1 and 2 seed, which is, offensive ratings a little bit different because the Dream are really good, but still that's the difference between the 2nd and the 5th. If you go to their net rating now, their net rating is 14.5. And
I think that's more than double the next best team,
the
right?
Atlanta Dream at 7.2. Like, the only thing this team isn't the best at is rebounding, and they're like 5th, which, I mean, it can't be sold. And we were talking about it before we got on, about just like the warpath this team has been on, the revenge tour, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, they have been so much better than everybody else in the league that, I mean, we're now looking at it where they could go 4-7, 4-8 and still probably have the 1 seed, Brandon.
Yeah. I mean, they're reaping the benefits of doing all that work early in the season now, with the Fee injury, right? Like it came at an unfortunate time where they're in this weird quirk in the schedule where they play New York 3 times in a row, although it's really spread out over like 2 weeks, like very strange time in the schedule. And quite frankly, like, I think that made tonight's game, I've been saying that they need to win one of these 3 Liberty games to just kind of feel comfortable, because they do have that massive lead. But if they had lost 3 games in a row, which would have been understandable without the literal best player in the world, then all of a sudden that lead is 2 games. But now by just locking in 1 win there, they can drop a couple games without Fee here against the Liberty, and they're still going to have a massive lead. I think tonight's game basically locked up the 1 seed. And the nice thing about that, like I said, they're reaping the benefits of doing that work early, is now they don't have to feel like they need to rush Napheesa Collier back. They can be like, their priority now is have her healthy for day 1 of the playoffs, and like as healthy as possible. Not like you can fight through it, like get her 100%, because barring some sort of disaster scenario, which I just don't see happening with this collection of players, this coach, like they're going to be the 1 seed. Yeah. So you can lose a couple games if it means Napheesa Collier is 5% more healthy for round 1 of the playoffs.
And Fee, I mean, she is the MVP front runner, despite like the kind of Alyssa Thomas push towards the end of the season here. But like, as long as she gets back and gets like 5 games in, she probably still wins the MVP. Even if she doesn't, like, Fee has anytime someone asks her about that, she throws it away immediately of like, I want a championship. I want a banner in the Target Center. I can't hang my MVP trophy in the Target Center. Like, I don't think that's even a thought for her. But I mean, consider she is putting up these MVP numbers, and she has had a messed up shoulder for pretty much since the All-Star game until she hurt her ankle. She had a bulging disc in her lower back. She had knee swelling. She had a foot thing earlier on. Like last year, she had plantar fasciitis. Like she has been pretty much hurt almost all season and just gutting through it. Like a healthy Fee come playoffs when she is putting up MVP numbers hurt. It's just going to be really hard to bet against the Lynx just kind of running through the playoffs.
Yeah. And like they have to do it, right? Like we can, but like you said, I mean, they are just leaps and bounds right now better than the rest of the league. And they're just killing it. Like we said, without the best player in the world. And like we saw, as good as Napheesa Collier is, she was even better in the playoffs last season. Like averaged 40 points a game for a series. Like
she had more points than minutes for 2 series.
And it's like to be the defensive player of the year and then all of a sudden come out this season and be like, oh yeah, I'm also just going to lead the league in scoring. Like imagine if Rudy Gobert came out and just averaged 30 points a game next season.
It's like, I struggle so hard to explain it because that's what it is. It is the best defensive player in the world who is now leading the league in scoring. Almost shot 50, 40, 90 in the first half of the season. I mean, 50% from the field, 40 from 3, 90 from free throw. She had a 40 consecutive made free throws streak at one point. And it's just everything is, I mean, the first matchup with New York, I was so impressed because New York was doing everything to stop Fee. They had Jones matched up on her like anytime she got the ball. If she started driving towards the basket, they didn't just close one corner defender. They sent them both in. And then it still didn't matter. Like 4-point lead with I think it was like 3 minutes left and Fee gets an and one off a lefty scoop shot. And it's so hard to describe how good she is because she also doesn't act like she's that good. Like she doesn't trash talk. She doesn't hoot and holler in post-game interviews.
In the Aces game, she hit him with the too small on the one.
And the internet blew up. Like after that New York game, I remember, I think it was Pat Borsey from MinPost asked her, he was like, was there more of like a concerted effort to get you the ball this game? And Fee just kind of like looked at K-Mac and was like, I don't think so. Like, I just kind of do what I do. And she was like, I kind of black out most games. And then K-Mac like interrupted her and was like, we try to get Fee the ball every single chance, always. Like it is every play. And it's like, that's just Fee. She has like I think she knows how good she is, but I don't think she understands how to act that good.
Yeah. And I think she's a little like, and take what I'm saying here, like she's almost like a team player to a fault sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's like, she's the best player in the world. Like she's probably going to win the MVP. So it's not like this is something she needs to fix, but to some degree, it's like she's leading the league in scoring and she doesn't even really like care about scoring. It's like, she's not a scorer in the traditional sense of the word. She can make tough shots, but she doesn't take tough shots. Like she is so good at just functioning within like the environment of the offense. And just simply by being good is going to get 25 to 30 points.
On like 17 shots.
And they're all just like I said, it's all just like the most easy, like it's not like easy shots. Like she's getting easy shots because she's good at creating easy shots. Yeah. And if she doesn't have easy shots, she's generating them for someone else. Like if they hard double her, she's just not going to shoot it, or she's going to hit him with like a crazy step through because she's got the best footwork in the league. And like, they're both going to be behind her as she's making an easy layup.
If if they go to take away her right hand, she can dribble with her left. If they try and take a step through away, she can hit a fadeaway. She can hit hooks. She can hit reverses. Like she's the most like dominant player in women's basketball that even like Asia's MVPs. Like Asia was a dominant like scorer. Like she could just get points like by sheer will. Fee just does it so like elegantly that it's just. And it's weird that we're talking about Fee after they just beat New York without Fee. But like, I think just if you're a Lynx fan, like you have to be just excited for the postseason. Like get there healthy and like let's just roll the ball out, because at this point, that's all they have left to prove. I'm going to throw us to one more ad read here, and then we'll do some questions in the chat, or we'll just keep yammering. And we're back with another ad read. This time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. I swear that gets cut off earlier every time. .com. Brandon, real quick, you like free stuff, right?
I love free stuff.
So here's the thing. Nate Pence sent us an email and he was like, hey, I want to do something specifically for people that are listening to the Hitting the Hardwood Network podcasts, whether it's me over here with Missing Lynx, Lynx Happy Hour with Terry Horseman, or Mitchell Hansen over with Hitting the Hardwood. That guy, Nate, he goes, I'm going to give away some free Lynx tickets, like good Lynx tickets, to one of the last 5 games this season. He hasn't figured out what game yet because he wants to have some insight from the potential winner of these free tickets. All you have to do is call or email that number that we listed out in that ad read and get a free consultation, have a meeting with Nate or his team. It's not like a timeshare. You're not going to have to buy anything. He's a realtor. He just wants to see what your interest is in buying or selling a home, or how he can help you. And just by doing that, you get entered in for a pair of free tickets brought to you by Pence Homes. I have been talking this up a little bit the last couple episodes because I don't think there's going to be a ton of people that are calling to get a realtor eval of their life. So if you want to go to a game, I mean, the Fever are out there, Liberty are out there, might not be a bad idea. Just send Nate an email, call him, say, hey, let's have a meeting. I heard you from the Hitting the Hardwood Network, and you get entered right into that giveaway. So not a bad way to get free stuff. So we got things in the chat here. Andrew says Lynx Liberty rivalry needs more attention to the W, most to focus on Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark. But it's been one-sided. Either one of them is injured. Completely agree. I think part of it is the Lynx and the Liberty are very careful, and Cheryl, I'm assuming Sandy did it in her press conference. K-Max said the same thing. DiJonai was funny. They asked DiJonai if she thought it was a rivalry, and she was like, hey man, I just got here. Like, I watched it on TV like everybody else. Don't come at me. But all of them are saying it's not a rivalry yet. Like if they meet in the playoffs again, if this gets a couple years behind it, I think the teams will start talking about it being more of a rivalry. But like as a fan watching it, it has that feel. It has the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens type, Vikings Packers type feel to them. I don't know if you get that same vibe, Brandon.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the league is doing their best to push that too. I mean, I think it feels kind of like they aren't rivalry because they haven't really played up until recently. Like it took them a long time to get that first rematch. And I mean, the air was let out of some of these games a little bit with the Fee injury and the Brianna Stewart injury. But I mean, these games are on national TV in like prime time slots. So I think the league wants it to be a rivalry. And I mean, I think it has a chance to be a rivalry because, I mean, if I were a betting man, I would say these are the two teams that are probably going to meet in the finals again this year. I mean, for my money, these are the two best teams in the league. I certainly think based off of all the metrics we listed out earlier in this show that I believe the Lynx are the better of those two teams, but it's not going to be easy. And like I said, I think just the nature of how that finals went last year, ignoring the obvious like game 5 annoying stuff at the end, that series was up until that moment fantastic. Like they talked about it on the broadcast today. I mean, like every game within a couple points, except for the one that was kind of a blow up, but that really got away in like the last 2 minutes. Like the Courtney Williams 4-point play, the Sabrina Ionescu like game winner, like that's all that stuff. When you have the two best teams and they're playing in the finals and they're playing heavily contested games, and then the next year those games are on national TV and those are the two best teams again, like all that stuff is like naturally brewing rivalry stuff. And they can say that they don't care about it, but I saw Courtney Williams in the tunnel post game, and she certainly looked like she cared.
Nate Pence, shout out Nate Pence, presenting sponsor from Hitting the Hardwood, also giving away 2 free tickets to people who do a consult with them. Land no fouls for the last 2 games. I'm going to say Lynx community gets the credit for that more than Lan. The amount of times I have been tagged in Lan has the worst whistle on the planet posts. Maybe finally the WNBA is starting to realize like Lan doesn't really foul that much. She's really good at stripping passes. And just because she bats a ball out doesn't mean she fouls every time. I'm going to throw this next one over to you. Andrew and Ryan both talk about Masha just needing more minutes, having a really good game. Kind of touched on it earlier, but Brandon, how do you get Masha more minutes on this team?
I mean, I don't think they can, like, because the rotation certainly isn't going to, I mean, you can get her more minutes down the stretch here as like these games are just going to mean a little bit less. Like I said, you're trying to get people healthy. Maybe you can rest healthy people in some of these games down the stretch just to try to keep them fresh, you know, give Alana Smith a night off here or there. Like, I don't know, but I mean, in the postseason, the rotation is going to shrink. It's not going to grow. And I mean, if they're fully healthy, it sure seems like it's the starting 5. It's DiJonai Carrington, it's Natisha Heidemann. And I mean, if they go 8 deep, I would say it's going to be Jessica Shepard, who has been fantastic this year. And quite frankly, I don't want them to go deeper than 8. In a 40-minute game, they quite frankly don't even need to go 8 deep as you get into the later rounds. Like you can play 7 deep when you're really like into like crunch time.
I think what's crazy is having Masha on this team gives them the ability, and Jess, it gives them the ability to match size a little bit better. Because then you can even, I mean, Cheryl's messed with it a little bit this year. You can slide Fee over to the small forward and play Fee, Lan, and Jess, or Fee, Lan, and Masha. Yeah. It's more kind of tools in the tool belt. Jude says Lynx odd year cycle. I mean, yeah. Cheryl's an every other year type of coach. I don't know what to tell you. I will say if they win it this year, I don't think they're going to have the champions fatigue, because Cheryl, I think, really wants to have that back-to-back banner. JP says, you know, Lynx play the best team basketball in the WNBA. Cheryl has done a masterful job putting the team together. I just pulled it up. Their assist percentage is 74.2%. So 3 out of 4 baskets for the Lynx comes off in an assist. They also have the best assist to turnover ratio at 1.83. Like 1.6 better, 1.5 better than the Storm. I mean, for people who watched the Wolves this year, and I do bring up the Wolves sometimes because, you know, I'm an NBA beat writer too. Like their assist percentage was like 60% for most of the season. The level of togetherness this team has is honestly kind of shocking. What do you feel about that, Brandon?
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about earlier, I think that's kind of why DiJonai Carrington has been such a revelation here, is that they do have that kind of we versus me, we not me mentality, where it is just a lot more cutting, a lot more ball movement. There is so much less pressure to do some self-creation on this team. And they have some people who can do it. Like when you get into the playoffs, like individual self-creation becomes a little bit more important. And I think Courtney Williams can do that. Fee can obviously do that with that kind of like mid-post, like turnaround fadeaway stuff. We've seen more of that over these last 3 games with Kayla McBride as Fee's been out, as a little more like offensive burden has been put on her shoulders. But yeah, like they really are a team that is just kind of connected. It's a lot of cutting. It's a lot of ball movement. It's a lot of passing. And I think it helps that in most cases, outside of the lineups that include Jess Shepard, who has been fantastic this year, everyone on the floor can shoot. So it's easy to have that kind of like motion cutting offense when you're never passing it to someone that the defense can comfortably ignore. Right. And like some of them are having worse years than others from behind the arc. Like I'd love to see Bridget Carlton get back to what she was able to do last year. We talked about this on our last episode of Crunch Wears No Pants. Natisha Heidemann is like the best 28% 3-point shooter I've ever seen. Because I look at her numbers and it makes no sense to me, because every time she shoots it, it looks like it goes in.
I blame box score tampering, because I feel the same way. What else is weird with like, and this, I'm going to skip ahead one question. Just someone asks about Lan and Shep's free throws. And I think T and BC both kind of fall into that. Like BC is a historically good 3-point shooter. T, before she came to Minnesota, was like a 38% 3-point shooter. Lan is a career 70% free throw shooter. Jess is an 80%. Well, let's call it 75%. Quick math. 75% free throw shooter. Sometimes these shooting funks are just weird and odd, and like Lan shooting sub 50% from the free throw after shooting 70% her whole career is wild. Same with Jess going from 75% to 56%. T dropping into the 20% from 3. BC not being near 40%. Like, I think it's a credit to all of those players that even though they're having like that level of inefficiency at places, that they still are like very net positive players. But I think it's just so much harder to get yourself out of a shooting slump, especially like if you're Lan, you're shooting maybe 4 free throws every 3 games. Like Jess is probably shooting 3 or 4 a game. T's only taking like 2 threes a game. Like, until I've been honestly kind of hopeful that with this Fee injury, maybe they can shake some of that shooting stuff just because they'll have opportunities. But like, it's just been weird shooting for quite a few players on this team.
Yeah, and I mean the glass half full view of that is they're 27-5. so like with all those players having like Natisha Heidemann's under 30%, Alana Smith is shooting 40% from the free throw line. Like with all that stuff, they're still just like beating the brakes off of everybody that they play. And like, I just think, like you said, I think a lot of times shooting slumps are just kind of weird. As frustrating as the Alana Smith thing is, it's 51 total free throws. So it's like, that's just not that many free throws. And yeah, 40% is not great. But like you said, she has a whole career track record of being a 70% free throw shooter. I'm going to bet on it netting out there. And the fact of the matter is, even if it doesn't, they're kicking the shit out of everybody.
It's 2 free throws a game, 1 she'll miss. It's wild. Ryan asks here, as well as Marie, I believe, up in the chat, just asking about DiJonai getting more minutes in the fourth quarter. Ryan asked you to think Nay will be a starter by the time the season is done. I will be completely honest. BC is going to be the starter. She means so much to that starting group in settling people down. Cheryl has called her, can't remember. It was something to the effect of like the Courtney Williams whisperer, of like Courtney will leave a huddle and forget what the play is, and BC will be like, no, we're running this. And then it'll just like, she's the organizer of this group. I think Nay's been getting a lot of long stretches of minutes because she just gets on fire. And when she is, playing like her hair's on fire or playing like she's on fire, it's hard to take her out of the game for BC, who's a lot more of, I'd say BC is a very high floor and a very low ceiling player. Like if BC has a good game, she probably scores 12 points. She plays really good wing defense. Everything's organized. She doesn't have any turnovers. DiJonai, I think, is probably has a similar floor to BC. Like DiJonai on a bad game is still going to bring like that crazy energy, but her ceiling is so much higher when she has it going. So I think it'll be a lot of the BC starts the game and then maybe DiJonai ends with like 5 more minutes than her. What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, I just don't think they really need to mess with anything right now.
Yeah.
Like I think that they have a formula right now that is clearly working. And to your point, who starts the game does not have to dictate who closes the game. Like BC was not very good today. And DiJonai was awesome. And DiJonai closed the game. And DiJonai has been closing in these first 3 games that she's been playing, but there are going to be nights where it makes sense for BC to close. There are going to be nights like we were talking about earlier where maybe it makes sense to go like too big and close with Jessica Shepard. Like they have all these different cards they can play, but I don't think they need to mess with kind of the formula that they have right now, which is like that starting unit is that starting unit if everyone is healthy. And then you have like, I don't think DiJonai Carrington is like angry that she's not starting. It sounds like she's having a great time in this role. Yeah. And if the understanding is that it is like a meritocracy, and if it's DiJonai Carrington's night, if it's Natisha Heidemann's night, you can close with those people if they're having good games.
A couple more questions here. KJ asks how we can get rid of in-game interviews. Keep giving them to Sandy and keep giving them to Cheryl. That is how you get those interviews out, because when you're at the games, and if anyone gets a chance to go to a game, please do. And then watch Cheryl on these national TV games as somebody is desperately trying to get her to like hold still to put something in her ear, and she is refusing to help in any way. And there's just this like ESPN like intern that's like, no, I really need to get this in your ear so we can interview you. And Cheryl's just like completely ignoring them. One word's the interview and then it's done. Like keep giving them to the coaches that absolutely hate doing it, because it'll go away then.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there is a time and place for them. Like this is kind of born of, I think the first sport to do this was professional baseball, and they did it with players in the All-Star game. Like they were interviewing outfielders during the game, and that's fine because that game doesn't count. And so if you want to put an earpiece in the shortstop's ear and talk to him while he's fielding a ground ball, like that's great. But as soon as it starts to leak into like the games that matter and the people who should be focusing and doing things on the games that matter, I think we've kind of jumped the shark a little bit. Like Cheryl Reeve has a job to do during the game. Like she wants to be paying attention to the game and talking about what's going on and seeing what's happening and adjusting to those things. She doesn't want to be talking to the broadcasters while that's happening.
I mean, there's just so many better things you could do. Like Cheryl is legitimately, I mean, everyone on the Wolves that I've talked to included, like Cheryl is probably my favorite person to just talk to in a press setting or an interview or a scrum, because she is like so sarcastically funny that like start televising the post-game press conference. Like clip in some of the pregame stuff, like start televising the scrum for 30 seconds when she has like a good quirk. Like she's going to give you nothing good during the game because like she doesn't want to talk to anyone during the game. KJ asked here, and I'll throw this one right to you, Brandon. What are the biggest things for the Lynx to work on ahead of the next 2 games? For me, it's our ball movement and passing. I will also preface this with Lynx should be flying back home today. They'll probably give them tomorrow off, and then they'll probably practice like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
You froze for a second there.
Oh, I'm back. I was just saying the Lynx should fly in today, I would assume. And then they should have tomorrow off and then have practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I would assume, what do you feel like they could most work on in that kind of 4-day stretch?
Yeah, honestly, like I've been beating the drum. Like, I don't know how much, like, I think that they have a pretty repeatable working formula and things are going pretty well. I think, like you said earlier, in this time where they don't have fee, I think it's a good opportunity to let some players kind of stretch the boundaries of what their roles are. And it's kind of like you flex that muscle of like a little bit of extra offensive burden, a little bit of extra defensive burden. And then when Fee comes back, your job feels like so easy. So, I mean, I think that the ball movement, the passing, this game was at times a little sloppy, but I think that was also partially because they were just like, there is no fouls in this game. I think there was less than 20 fouls between both teams, and it was like an incredibly physical game. But yeah, I'm actually more interested in like I said, seeing Kayla McBride kind of flex more of her self-creation like muscles, you know, seeing DiJonai Carrington kind of continue to integrate into the infrastructure. Like, she's been great, but what's going to happen if she has like a full week of practice now with the team and learns to play with those people even more? But yeah, I mean, like, I'm kind of in a, if it ain't broke, don't fix it mode with this team right now, and just kind of taking this time without Fee as an opportunity to let people kind of expand their roles a little bit.
It's so interesting. And I put Jeremy's chat from YouTube up here. Appreciate you joining the show. But Lynx fan since 2011. Love the team. Excited for the mission. We are nowhere near finished. And I will say it is such a different vibe from lifelong Lynx fans that support this team, because like, they know the writing's on the wall. This is a team that is going, like, they know who Cheryl Reeve is. They know this team is not going to like come in underprepared. Like, the writing's on the wall. And then there's kind of everybody else who is either newer with the Lynx or also follows the Vikings, Twins, Timberwolves, Wild, and is just waiting for the shoe to drop. And Fee gets injured, and oh man, that's the shoe that dropped. There goes the season. And then we win 3 straight, or the Lynx win 3 straight. You know, and I think a lot of the like worry about like, oh, we need more size, we need to work on certain things, is a lot of that, like, you know, at some point that shoe's gonna drop. And I mean, I would just say, like, based off of like, and I'm gonna be writing about it next weekend, but based off of like their statistics, they are going to probably go into the postseason as one of the best teams of all time. And when you have a team that is that historically good, they almost always win. And in the W, they literally always win. Like, you can kind of get it down to a science almost to figure out what teams have a chance. And the Lynx are just so much better at everything that I think this is, like Jeremy said, they're nowhere near finished.
Yeah, and I think the fact that too, like, to go into, along with all the metrics that say they are just one of the best teams ever, they also just have the best player in the world. And historically speaking, in men's and women's basketball, if you have the best player in the world, usually you win. So it's just extremely likely that at some point in Nafisa Collier's career, she's going to win one. And it sure would make a whole lot of sense for it to happen in this year where they are just loaded. And like I said, it's not just that they're winning. It's not just that they're in first place. They have lapped the rest of the league to the point where there's like 12 games to go and 13, 14, however many games there are to go. And they just like, they don't even really matter, like, because they almost can't fall out of first place.
Again, best stat for this team, they are doubling the number 2 team in net rating. Like, that is insane. Jeremy, last question here. I'll just take it. Jalen Sherrod signing. I'll be honest. Cheryl before the game said, you know, don't really know her. She just got here, but she's going to be used for like research and development, essentially. Research on New York and developing her as a player. I think it makes more sense. Like, Yvonne Anderson was a 35-year-old point guard that had played with Court and Fee, or not. Well, she did play with Fee over in Turkey, but she's played with most of the players on the roster. I think now that they're feeling a little bit more confident with DiJonai, it makes sense to bring in like a 23-year-old to just have on the roster for the rest of the season. I think it's really undersold how good the Lynx like development staff is. I know like Diamond Miller, Alyssa Peely didn't work out, but like Jalen's going to be able to come in and be coached by Cheryl Reeve, and she will have hands-on like ball handling and point guard training with Lindsay Whalen, and she'll be sitting behind an all-star in Courtney William and a former starting guard Natisha Heidemann. Like I think it's a great opportunity for her. And if anything, like it's probably annoying for New York. They'll probably have to like change their defensive calls or at least like their verbiage. So why not, right?
Yeah, I don't know a ton about her, but and I would imagine we're probably not going to see a whole lot of her this season, but like who knows? It's good to take bets on young talent.
Exactly. Well, Brandon, I'm going to wrap the show here. For the 500 crazy people on a Sunday afternoon to join a Lynx post-game live feed, I appreciate all of you guys. This is why Hitting the Hardwood exists, because we all felt there was a lot of Lynx fans out there that didn't have content to fill their time, and you guys make it worthwhile every time. So Brandon, appreciate you. Are we spoiling it about your pod this week?
Well, I think we can spoil it. So Andrew is going to join us this week on Crunch Wears No Pants with me, Nate Alsdorf and Jordan Alamat. We are primarily a Timberwolves podcast. But here in the off season, we love the Lynx. And in the off season, with not a whole lot going on the Timberwolves side, we've started to dedicate a little bit more time to Lynx stuff. So our last episode was almost 100% Lynx coverage. Andrew's coming on this week to talk about the Lynx, and as they go deeper into the playoffs, we'll be talking Lynx a lot more, obviously, and we'll be doing a victory lap pod when they win the title.
Oyama, hi from South Africa, hi from Minnesota, from both of us, and let's wrap on that. I appreciate you, Brandon, and I can't wait to join you on the No Pants.
Can't wait.